Hi, Gajanan. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Sorry. Where were you, Gajanan, last week?
Last week I went outside. I didn't plan, but immediately I planned, so I went for outside.
Okay,
I went.
no problem. You're following up with the videos, right? Any doubt, let me know. Okay, guys.
I will wait.
Yeah. Sorry for the delay. Let us start. So this week is last. Okay. This week is last for our class. If you have any doubt, please, okay, go through and ask. Okay. We have all like very few services now. Let me start. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, visible.
Okay, right. So in today's survey, okay, in today's class, we're gonna talk about AWS monitoring services. Okay, so whenever in interview, if they ask, okay, what are AWS monitoring services you have worked on? Okay, then you have to talk about these three: CloudTrail, Config, and CloudWatch. These are very most used services, monitoring services in AWS. All right. So in this class, we'll go one by one what each of this does. Okay. What is this service definition? What all it does? Okay. What all it won't do? If you just remember that, that is more than enough. Okay. Even for the interview, for the people only aware of CloudWatch, many of them are not aware of CloudTrail and Config. Right. So that I will show you in this class today. All right. So let us start. Okay. So first thing is we're gonna talk about CloudTrail. Let me open this. All right. So do you guys have any idea what is CloudTrail?
No, sir.
Okay. So yeah. So let me brief you. So now this is your VPC. Okay. So if this is your VPC, so inside here you'll be having subnets, right? Different subnets will be there. Okay. So inside here you'll be having your resources. Resources means your S3 bucket, EC2, load balancer, your EBS volume, right? All these are your resources. Okay. So if the now here what happens, sometimes if someone gets hacked, okay, someone compromise, okay, if your EC2 is compromised, okay, your S3 bucket, someone leaks your S3 bucket, right? You want to know it, okay, you want to know how it happened, right? Who made that change, right? I mean, who did what action they have done. Okay, if you want to know all those things, okay, what we can do is you have to go in the AWS console and you have to enable CloudTrail. Okay, now what this CloudTrail? Okay, what this CloudTrail does it? Okay, he's like a class leader in your classroom. Okay, he's a leader. Okay, he'll just monitor. Okay, he's a leader. He'll just monitor. He'll write out the names, right, in your class. Same way, CloudTrail works like that. Okay, so it will be monitoring your AWS services. Whoever does the API action, please remember API action only. Okay, what do you mean by API calls? You guys are aware of API calls?
Yes, sir. Yeah, whenever you are using in GUI, na, that is called API.
See, an API call is a message sent to a server asking an API to provide a service. Okay, so it's nothing but like, oh, it's not showing in detail. Right? Put, delete. Okay, if you see here, right? Post, right? All these are API calls. Why are they not showing examples? Can you see here? See like this. For example, see get request, right? Post request, put request, right? Delete request. So in AWS, if you want to start any EC2, if you want to upload any bucket in your any object in your bucket, everything happens through API calls only. Okay, it happens in the background, but we will not get to know, right? Suppose now if Gajanan goes and create S3 bucket, okay, in his organization, and if he puts some data, some code in that SD bucket. These all happens through API calls only in the background. So as soon as he uploads object, it shows somewhere in the document, Gajanan, okay, put request. Gajanan has put code, right? If Gajanan deletes that, it will show Gajanan delete. Okay, these are the API calls. It will show only put, delete, post, get, list, right? These are the API calls. Okay. If you want to track these calls, okay, if you want to track these API calls, then we will use CloudTrail. Okay, as I told you, he acts as a leader. Okay, so anyone comes and stops your EC2, if you have enabled CloudTrail, it's just a monitoring, right? It's just a monitoring. He cannot stop it. If anyone comes and try to stop EC2, he will make a record. If anyone put any object in S3, he'll make a log and keep it. Okay, where it will send? As soon as you create CloudTrail, it will create one S3 bucket. Okay, it will create one S3 bucket, and whatever API action happens, okay, inside your VPC on any of your resource, all the API action, okay, get, put, post, delete, right? Whatever it might be, everything it will store in your S3 bucket. Okay, so if you have enabled CloudTrail, okay, if you are easy to, right, if your EC2 instance get hacked, right? Only if you have enabled CloudTrail, you can come to this bucket and you can see the logs, right? So you can see the logs, who has stopped, right? Who has stopped this EC2 instance, who has started this EC2 instance, right? When this S3 bucket made public, right? Who has taken data from the public, all the details will be stored because your CloudTrail acts like a class leader, as I told you, right? Is that understood, guys?
Yeah, understood.
Yeah. So my console is not working. That's why I'm showing you with reference images. To see, this is how you can see once you enable CloudTrail, right? Once you enable CloudTrail, if you go into that CloudTrail, you can see like this, see event time. Can you see here what event? See all the API calls, update user, right? Create, right? Create role. So who has created? See AWS root user, right? See AWS user, someone deleted one role, one IAM role. See that also logged. So if you click on this, you will go, you can see even more details. See like this. If you click on this, whether they have used access key, what time they have done, right? Or what is the event name, what they have done, for from which IP, that also you can see. That's why CloudTrail is the most widely used. Okay, people are not much aware of it. Here they're getting to know, right? Very less people are aware, but CloudTrail is a very useful feature. Can you see their logs? This is how it happens. See who has deleted your role, who has detached your role policy. And if you want more detail, just click on this. You'll get even more, right? If so, someone if deleted your role, right? If you want to block, take this IP. put it in blacklist. That's it, right? So that's why cloud enabling CloudTrail is very important. Now
Like
we have one.
log, what are you guys doing in system? You are taking logs when
Ha.
device went down, when came and get back, and what is
It is
the
not about
reason?
the device. It is about the API calls. API calls, not about the device. API calls made to that device. See, these all are event names. If you see, they have made API call of update. Update here, create. See here, create policy here, attach, delete. Right. So this is a based on API calls. It will monitor only for the API calls. Okay. See like this. Now we'll get into the definition. What is AWS CloudTrail? It track events, API calls, right? Changes made to your AWS resources. Okay. Who made the request? What action was performed? What are the parameters used? What was the end result? Right? Same. You can see here, right? Who made the request? Username, right? Or for what? Which is the parameter? Which is the event source? Right? Username, right? All those things you can see. Okay, so whenever you have to go with a compliance, if you want to standard, whenever they say you want to follow the compliance and standard, you can go with AWS CloudTrail. Okay, as I told you, it always deliver log files to your S3 bucket, or if you want, you can send it to the CloudWatch as well. But by default, if you don't give, it will send it to, as soon as you create CloudTrail, I told you, right? As soon as you go and enable CloudTrail, it will automatically create one CloudTrail S3 bucket by default. All right. So here, this is all extra option. Okay. So here in CloudTrail types, you need to understand we have different CloudTrail types, right? We have multi-region and single region. So what do you mean by multi-regional trial is a one trial for all AWS regions. Okay. So event from all region can be sent it to one, okay, CloudWatch logs or one S3 bucket. Multi-region. Single region trial is only events from one region. What do you mean by region, guys? Do you remember?
Yes, Mumbai region and Hyderabad region.
Ah, correct. Right? So if this VPC is in Mumbai region, so for one Mumbai region, if you want, you can keep one specific, right, cloud trial and one specific S3 bucket. Now you have one more VPC, right? You in Virginia, right? You have one more VPC in North, right? If you want, you can keep separate for that. Okay, you can keep separate S3 bucket for that. Okay, this is single trial, but if you want to keep only one bucket to all your region, you can go with multi-region trial as well. Okay, so usually people prefer multi-region trial because once, if I mean, all your AWS accounts belong to one organization, you can go with multi-region trial so that at a single place you will have entire thing. Okay, you can query and you can take out the data. Okay, so what are the important things you need to know here is log files are automatically encrypted. Okay, so if you see, as you saw, right, these are log files. These are log files. Okay, all these files are automatically encrypted. Only you can see since you have logged in. Other from outside, they cannot see it. Okay, so this is a very expensive thing. Okay, if you enable, it will start charging from minutes. I think for each minute you will be charging because it will be monitoring, right? So the moment it starts monitoring, you will be charged. Okay, so here we have one more very important thing you need to understand is we have something called management events and data events, right? So in a cloud trial, okay, you have two things. Okay, you can make use of cloud trial for either for data level events or management level events. Okay, while creating it will ask. So if you select data level events, so it will record all API actions on Amazon S3 objects only on Amazon S3. But if you go with the management events, okay, it will get like administrator, like it will give all the details on all the services, not only on S3, right? On EC2, load balancer, your EBS volumes, all services in AWS, you can select management level. Okay. If you're configuring, if you're creating a CloudTrail only for your S3 bucket, you can go with data level events. So if you select data level events, cost will be a little bit cheaper. That's it. Okay. So any doubt here, guys, please ask me. No, right? So you guys understood what is CloudTrail, how it works, why do we use CloudTrail, right? When do we use CloudTrail? We use CloudTrail for logging all the API calls made to our AWS resource. Okay, it's like a class leader. Okay, he will logs where he will send all the logs. CloudTrail will send all the logs to our S3 bucket. All right. This is about CloudTrail. Now let's talk about our next monitoring tool. So what is that? It is AWS config. Okay. So let's talk about AWS config. Okay. So when do we use config? Config is a auditing, right? It is auditing or governance, right? Or checking your compliance service. Okay. How do we use config is okay. So AWS config is very simple to say. If I want to say in very simple terms, right? It is your CCTV camera of your AWS. Okay, it's like it acts like a CCTV. Okay, so what does CCTV does now? Let's say if you install CCTV in front of your building, okay, in front of your building, at the gate of your building. Okay, if you install. So what this CCTV does? So whoever comes in, whoever goes out, right? So if they come in, right, what changes they make? Okay, which floor they'll go, right? If they do any changes, right? And what time they went out, right? If they make any changes in this thing, everything this CCTV will record, right, in your building. Right, in CCTV, if you want to find out who made it, at what time, who came, you will get to know your CCTV. Same way, right? Same technology. If you want to use, right, in AWS, so we have something called config. Okay. So what happens if you enable config? It starts recording. Okay. So it will record your entire VPC. Okay. So what happens here? Okay. This is your VPC. So it will start recording your entire VPC. Now there is one EC2 running. Okay. If someone comes to this EC2 and if they change the type of EC2, suppose if this is T2 micro. Okay, if this is T2 micro, if they come and change it to, you know, the bigger one, okay, compute optimized, right, or memory optimized, or if they come and change the storage of this EC2, right? If any junior comes and he changes the storage, right? And in S3 bucket, okay, if this is your S3 bucket, you know there's a storage classes in your S3 bucket, right? So if anyone comes and changes your storage classes, not delete, are you understanding? Not delete bucket, not put request. No, if it's a put, delete, get, you will log in CloudTrail. What this config will record? Any configural changes made to your AWS resources, configural changes, right? Example is like this. If you change the type of EC2s, you have different types of EC2, right? I hope you guys remember it. And then we have S3 bucket, different S3 bucket, this thing, lifecycle rules. If they change lifecycle rules from standard to glacier, right? And load balancer, if they're using application load balancer, if anyone comes and changes to network load balancer, how will you get to know? How will you get to know? Is only because of config. So if you enable config, it will act like, oh, it will be act like a CCTV camera, right? So whoever at what time who came, what changes they made, what they have changed. So everything they'll store same in S3 bucket. Okay, they'll store in what's the S3 bucket. So all the thing will be in the S3 bucket, what changes they made. So even if you want, you can take out data from yours. Okay, I'll show you how it will. Always go through your AWS documentation, guys. This page is there, no? This is very helpful page. Okay, we also trainer, right? Your managers, everyone will go through this. Nobody says you that. Okay, this has all the thing you required. Yes, see, it will be something like this. Your AWS config logging. Okay, if you enable config, and if anyone changes your this thing, if anyone tries to make a the right, so you can see like this. So I think, I hope it is visible for you guys. So if you see at what time, from which region, right? What is a resource type, EC2 network interface, okay, what they have changed, okay, and also what it got affected is attached, and which EC2 is attached this interface, right? See, can you see this? You can see all the details in a JSON document. This is a log file. Okay, here you can see what they have changed, what was the previous thing and what they have changed. Okay, where it has attached, who is using it, right? All the details you'll get to know in AWS config, all the configural changes. In CloudTrail, what did you see? Only API calls made, right? But here in this, if you're able to concentrate, right, you can see even the VPCs also, right? Which VPC it attached, where it has attached, right? Where it has made changes, right? What kind of change type? See, they have updated it. Okay, whether they have deleted it, they have updated everything you can see in AWS config file. See, this is the, you can see sample AWS config event with, okay. Are you guys getting it?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Uh, okay, so basically we use AWS config for auditing purpose. Okay, so if you want a complete inventory of your AWS resource, inventory means who came, right? What changes they have done, when did they came, what all it's affected because of that change, what all it went affected, everything you can see in AWS config. Okay, it will track and it will have a history of recordings, same like your CCTV camera. Okay, so when it comes to the governance, AWS config has their predefined config rules. Okay, so you can do, okay, so example for rules is something like this. Okay, so you'll just set up the rules like config, right? So HTTP to HTTPS redirection check. Okay, EBS optimized instance. Okay, EC2 instance with no public IP. All the volumes are encrypted or not. Okay, elastic interface is EIP as attached or not. Okay, whether your protocols in security group is restricted or not. Okay, they have predefined rules. Okay, so what happens if you have, if this is the config, okay, they have predefined rules. Now you saw, right? These are now you can take this rule and apply to EC2. Now what happens whenever EC2, so it will be monitoring. If this EC2 fails to pass this rule, we will get findings. We'll get a generation. Okay, we will get a log file so that it will be easier for us to track, right? That is how they use AWS config, guys. It will be having a predefined set of rules and you can see what are the rules. Example, right? If you EC2 instance with public IP, does EC2 instance? It will check whether the EC2 instance have public IP. And if you go with encrypted volumes, it will check whether all EC2 instance is attached EBS volumes are encrypted or not. If it's not encrypted, you will get the alert, you will get the finding, right? Any configuration changes, okay, you can go with AWS config. Okay, so you can also interact with Lambda, right, to take immediate action, right? Suppose how you can do in config rules is now this EC2, okay. Now there's one EC2 with open to public. Security group is open 0000 open to internet. Okay, you have these rules. Okay, you have these rules. Now this rules shows us that okay, there's one EC2 which is open to public. Now as soon as you see this manually, we can go and stop. But if you want to make it automation, you can integrate these rules with Lambda. Okay, I've explained you about Lambda, right? What is Lambda? It is a serverless. Whenever there's an event and then there will be a trigger. Okay, so what happens if you integrate with Lambda? If there's any EC2 with open security group, okay, this rule will send it to the Lambda. So Lambda will get this as an event. As soon as it get, we can write a code here, okay, to stop that EC2. So what it will do, it will directly go and stop that EC2. So automatically it done, right? You don't have to intervene at all. That's how they use it, guys. Okay, that's why I've told you AWS Cloud Trial, AWS Config are very important monitoring tools. This is how they use it, right? So what all thing you did here? So first thing you can work it as auditing, right? You can check all the inventories, what changes they have done using config. And second thing, you can put your rules, okay, to follow whether these are following the complaints or not. And third thing, you can integrate these rules with Lambda so that if you want to make automation, you can integrate with Lambda to automatically stop and start some particular resource. Okay. So what is the main difference here between config and CloudTrail? Please understand here. What is the main difference between AWS config and CloudTrail is config is what did my AWS resource look like? Okay, means how will my resource look? What all changes they have done? Okay, if you take one EC2, okay, this is your EC2 service. Okay, how this EC2 looks? Okay, what are the changes they have done from past 10 days? Right? Who all accessed it, what time they have changed, what time you have changed the volume, right? How you are basically, you can see how your resources look using AWS config. What is AWS Cloud Trail? Who made an API call, okay, to modify those resources, okay? Suppose if you see this EC2 is changed to from T2 to uh, HPC, right? If the volume is changed from 4 GB to 8 GB, right? Who made this change? How will you track? You will track to CloudTrail. Okay, you can use CloudTrail to track your API calls. That's the major difference. Is it clear, guys? Any doubt till here?
No, sir.
Gajan, Muntaz.
Nice, sir.
Okay, these are very like most used monitoring services in AWS. CloudTrail and Config. CloudTrail is for logging your API calls, and config is for any configurational changes made to your resource. Just remember that and explain them whatever I have told. Okay. And if you want, I'll share you these slides, right? If you explain them whatever I told, definitely they'll be impressed in interview, right? Because not many people are aware of CloudTrail and config. Since I'm into security, I have involved this. We use it every day. It's a very useful feature for us. All right, so let's move on to the other one is Cloud Watch. Okay, so we'll talk about next monitoring tool, that is about Amazon CloudWatch logs. Okay, great. So what is this CloudWatch? How does it work? Any idea? Do you guys
Yeah,
know?
simply for monitoring purpose.
Okay. So using CloudTrail, you are tracking all the API calls, right? And using AWS config, you are tracking all who has made changes, whoever come access, you're monitoring it. Then why do we use CloudWatch? For what purpose? Just think, what could be the reason? Why do we use CloudWatch? Okay, so the main reason why do we use CloudWatch is for, monitoring your services. Okay, monitoring. Okay, CloudTrail is a tracking, config is also tracking. If anything happens, it will track. But CloudWatch is a monitoring, it's like a live. Okay, so what all it monitors? Okay, your CPU utilization. Okay, suppose your EC2, right? EC2 CPU utilization, network utilization, storage utilization, your OS utilization, right? All those things it will monitor. Okay, you can select a metrics. Okay, suppose if you want to monitor your EC2. Okay, if you want to monitor your EC2's performance. Okay, so in real time, what happens is you will be having hundreds of EC2. Okay, let's say you will be having hundreds of EC2 like this. Now you want to individual, if it's one or two, you can come and check. Okay, you can click on this EC2, you will see it in the dashboard what is up. But if you monitor everything, okay, what you can do, you can go to CloudWatch dashboard and you can create a monitoring dashboard for all this EC2. Okay, so you can monitor CPU level for this set of CPU, you can monitor network utilization, right? And you can monitor your storage, how much they're using storage, whether they're running out of it, and you can monitor your OS usage. Okay, for all these EC2, there will be thousands. How can you manage? So that's why we have something called CloudWatch. They're like they will be monitoring your services. Right, in this, if any EC2 instance, okay, if any like out of 100, let's say if 10 EC2 instance are using more than 95% of CPU utilization, so then you can integrate, you can create something called alarm. Okay, let me go through one by one, or else it will. Okay, see, it monitor and troubleshoot using system and application and custom log files. Okay, why do we use CloudWatch logs is, so it will monitor and it will send the logs. Based on that logs, you can troubleshoot it. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, whenever you enable CloudWatch to our EC2, so it will install an EC2 instance. Okay, it will install log agent. Okay, so that agent will be monitoring your CPU everywhere. Okay, your CPU utilization, your network utilization, storage utilization. That agent will monitor and send it to the CloudWatch logs. Okay, so there you can send it to the dashboard. This is how it looks. I'll show you. Yeah, so you can see like this. If you see here, see, this is showing your CPU utilization. Can you guys see it here? How much percentage your EC2 is utilizing your CPU? Okay. And if you see your disk, okay, how much percentage of your storage has been your EC2 used, right? For one or two EC2, you can manage. Okay, if you want have thousands of EC2, right? How will you manage? That's where you'll use CloudWatch. Okay, this is the dashboard, CloudWatch dashboard. This is how it looks. Okay, here you can see the CPU utilization, network utilization, right? database connections, how many database it has connected, your storage utilization. Okay, so using this CloudWatch, you can monitor all those things. See, for this, they'll have a separate team, guys. Okay, they'll have something called monitoring team in real time. Okay, they'll have a monitoring team. So that team is their day-to-day work is to monitor each and everything. If anything, like, see, if you in this CPU utilization is 20%, right? If it's going above 90%, immediately they'll inform us. It's going above, we have to do something because they have to maintain this. Okay, that's why in corporate they have monitoring team separate. Okay, to monitor all those things. How will they monitor? Using your CloudWatch only. Okay, so you can create, if you want, you can create line chart, or if you want, you can create bar chart. If you want, you can go with pie chart. Okay, same like your Power BI tool. Okay, it will give you options to create however you want. But main thing, what all it logs is, right? So what all it monitors, CloudWatch, CPU utilization, network utilization, storage utilization, and OS utilization. Okay. And also now they have given a new option, that is your container insights. Okay, if you have your containers, right, DevOps related containers running on AWS, you can monitor that as well. Okay, so this is about CloudWatch, how it works. The main important work, why do we use CloudWatch, is for CloudWatch alarms. Okay, the most widely used is for CloudWatch alarms. Okay, how this alarm works. Okay, now I'll explain you how this works. Okay, now this is your S3 bucket. If this is your S3 bucket, okay, right here you will be having objects stored. Okay, and now, okay, so if you what happens is here, if anyone, right, if the S3 utilization, okay, if S3 utilization is storage utilization is suddenly started increasing. Okay, if suddenly started increasing, so suddenly started increasing, if suddenly users are putting more object in S3 bucket, okay, what you can do, you can install CloudWatch and you can give some rules. Okay, you can say to CloudWatch, okay, if this like storage increases in a day more than 5 GB, right? If user puts data in this S3 bucket more than 5 GB in a day, okay, or if it's increasing more than 5 GB, create an alarm for me. Okay, create an alarm. So whenever this thing happens, no more, it increases more than 5 GB in a day, so it will send to the CloudWatch as a log. Okay, so this CloudWatch, since we have created alarm, okay, what happens? Using this alarm, you can notify to your users. Okay, you can notify your developers, right, your testers, right, or your DevOps team. You can notify them. Okay, you can make it as automation. Can you see it? How it is automating everything. You don't have to come and manually check. Okay, if S3 bucket is increasing, right? So you can create alarm. From that alarm, you can just go with SNS, simple notification service. I will tell you in next class what is SNS. Okay, so you can create email alert or SMS alert, right? So that that particular related team, they will receive an email. Okay, they'll receive an email that, okay, please note your S3 bucket storage are increasing a day, right? This way they'll use alarm, guys. This way they'll use alarm. Not only this, now you can use alarm for your AWS account as well. Now you have AWS console, right? Now this is Gajanan's AWS console. Okay, this is Gajanan's AWS console. Now for the lab purpose, for the training purpose, he will launch some EC2 and he will forget to off it. He'll forget to terminate it, right? So if he has not enabled CloudWatch alarm, he will not get to know at all until the billing comes. He will not get to know, right? Until his billing comes for that month, he will not get to know that he has enabled, he has not deleted EC2. So in avoid that billing, what you can do, you can integrate, okay, you can create CloudWatch alarm. Okay, just go to CloudWatch alarm, select your billing, okay, and select your account, okay, and then you have to give the threshold value. Okay, so here now if Gajanan go and enable CloudWatch alarm for the AWS console, he will go to the billing, he'll select his account and he'll give the threshold value. He will give 10 USD dollars. Okay, 10 USD dollars. Now, or 10 USD dollars, and he will say he will create alarm. Okay, while creating alarm, it will ask Gajanan to send his email ID. What is his email ID? So he will give gajanan@gmail.com. He'll give. Once he does the setup, okay, once he does it setup, right now, if Gajanan forgets to turn off this EC2, okay, if he forgets to turn off EC2, as soon as this EC2 reaches 10 USD dollar, right? As soon as it reaches 10 USD dollar, immediately AWS will send email to Gajanan. Email to Gajanan, okay, saying, hi Gajanan, you have not stopped your EC2. Please note it. Alarm has created. He will send a AWS will automatically send an email. This is a very important feature, guys. Right? They will definitely ask you in interview. Mark my words. They will definitely ask you in interview. How do you use CloudWatch alarms? How can you use CloudWatch alarms? So this is how you can use. Okay, this is a very simple thing to set up. Okay, this you guys can try it as an assignment for tomorrow's class, right? For your you guys have your AWS console, right? Create an alarm for that AWS account. I want to see, right? Create an alarm for 10 USD dollars. It is very useful. If you create alarm, right? Even after the training class, if you forget to stop any EC2, any load balancer, you will get an email. Okay, this is
Which
a
one is
small
costly? So which one is costly? A part of CloudTrail and AWS config and CloudWatch. In between, who is the costly?
config. AWS config is the costliest one because it monitor all your entire AWS. CloudTrail, it will monitor only API logs. CloudWatch, it will monitor only this thing, right?
For EC2 object.
So CloudWatch is a bit cheaper. That's why many people use CloudWatch.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how you can make use of these monitoring service, and this is the main feature of CloudWatch alarm. Right, so you can create alarm. See, same thing he has explained. Create alarm based on your EC2 CPU utilization or your SQS, or if your Dynamo, if anyone updates DynamoDB table, right? Right, you can create your own custom metrics. So here in this custom metrics, you have to go and select your billing, give your account, and give the threshold value. It will just monitor the threshold value. As soon as the threshold value reaches, it will send you email. That's it. Okay. So if you want to, if you're preparing for the exam, please remember CloudWatch is the main tool for anything alarm related. Okay. Any doubt, guys? So we have talked about main monitoring services in AWS, where whenever they ask what are the monitoring services you have exposure, talk about CloudTrail, talk about config, right? And then talk about CloudWatch. See, all starts with C. Cloud. Okay, easy to remember, right? So tomorrow we're gonna talk about decoupling architecture. Did I cover decoupling architecture? No, right?
No.
So tomorrow we'll talk about decoupling architecture. So what are the different ways of decoupling architecture? Why do we use decoupling architecture, right? In recent interview, they have asked decoupling. All right. So tomorrow's assignment, please do that and come, Gajanan and Muntaz.
Yeah.
Any doubt, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
we'll,
Bye
yeah,
bye.
we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Sure. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye bye.